if you're in nursing or pre-med or you're cared about health at all, you know, document some of the things that you can do that cannabis, medical marijuana can do for you. This is Elvie Musica. I don't know if some of the activists might have heard of her. She has glaucoma, and if she actually eats cannabis. That helps her glaucoma. But if she didn't eat a lot every day, she would go blind. And she's one of the 6 patients in America that she receives 300 cigarettes a month from the government. They had a program in the 80s where they let just a few people enter this study research program, and only 6, I think 4 or 6 are left alive now, and she's one of them. And she gets this big can of really crappy pot every month because they grow it down in Mississippi and they include stems and seeds, and they really don't care about the patients. It's ugly. It's ugly. You guys don't know what I'm talking about, believe me. You guys are spoiled. Back in the old days, we had seeds. And but she still gets it, and she's great. She's an activist. She's still out there pounding the pavement, letting people know what a good medicine is. Cannabis, you hear a lot about it on TV about things like it helps with nausea if you're going through chemotherapy or radiation treatment. It also helps with spasms and epilepsy. There's no lethal dose for cannabis. You cannot literally smoke yourself to death, which, you know, I know some people that have tried. So, and that's a good thing, because alcohol, unfortunately, too many people die every year overdosing on alcohol and other seemingly safe drugs like aspirin and Tylenol. It's really insane when you think of how many hundreds of people really overdose every year on aspirin. So there's no lethal dose of cannabis, so it's a very safe medicine. It's very effective for a number of different things. It even helps for asthma. It helps it's a bronchodilator. It makes the blood vessels in your lungs expand. It helps the absorption of oxygen. So it's just incredible what it can do. Also, people are finding you get prescribed a lot of hardcore pain pills and medications going through chemo if you're really sick, if you have bad pain. But people that start smoking marijuana start taking less of those pain pills because they don't need it. So it's actually not a gateway drug. It is a gateway drug away from hard drugs. It's a gateway away from alcohol, a gateway away from tobacco, and a gateway away from other harmful narcotics. So keep that in mind, document that, and there are studies being done, but we need more work in that area. So, you know, and cancer, they're saying now studies that cancer actually helps shrink or kill some types of cancer cells, which is freaking incredible. So like people that are smoking actually don't get lung cancer as near as much as people that smoke cigarettes, which is a stone cold killer. So look into that. Bone fractures, they came out with a new study that cannabis actually helps heal fractures faster. So it's just like, what can it do? It's just really, really incredible. So look into that. Get back to me. Urinetown, yeah.
Was that bronchodilator basically a vaporizer?
Oh, this is a vaporizer. That's a volcano, and that's another good delivery system. That's right. Sorry, I didn't mention that, because you don't have to smoke marijuana. Yeah. People are always talking about, oh, you can't smoke a medicine. It's bad for you. It causes cancer. Well, you don't have to smoke it. You can vaporize it, which there's no smoke. And these things are awesome. Big bag of cannabis vapor. But they have smaller vaporizers too, for just 1 or 2 people. So that's an excellent delivery system. You can also eat cannabis, which Elvie and other people do because they don't want to smoke it. And you can also make it into tinctures and rub it on yourself. And it's just tremendous for arthritis and things like that. So hemp seed oil is really good for you. And the cannabis tinctures are really good for you. If you're in music, theater, screen arts, you could do any number of projects or things about this. And everybody knows, about Bob Marley and Willie Nelson, and how, marijuana and cannabis is just a huge part of their life, their image, their culture. But, you could study what is the impact of cannabis on all the different music genres. Cole Porter used to write some really good songs and funny songs, but he was definitely smoking some weed back then. So this was in the 30s and 40s. Louis Armstrong, those guys were big smokers. So you can study that. You could put on a play, put on the Marijuana Logs, which is a really good little play. Or there's a woman in Cambridge that wrote a musical called the Caitlin County Hemp Wars, which is a really cool musical about a family that tries to save their farm by growing hemp. And it's very emotional and great music. And we're actually going to have a person sing a few songs from that at the Hemposium, April 28th at Suffolk University. So that's Thursday, 2 weeks from tomorrow night. We're going to have some hemp history, a bunch of more hemp food products and everything. All right. So, put on the musical, or, do a study on, how pot smokers are portrayed. It used to be almost totally negative about people that were smoking marijuana, like especially like Tally or people like that. Want to get high? But now you have Brian on Family Guy, and he smokes pot all the time, but it's just sort of normal, and he actually bonded with his son because they were smoking marijuana together. So, that's a lot more positive portrayal of cannabis. Or the Bored to Death show on HBO with Ted Danson and Zach Galifianakis. They smoke throughout every episode, and it's really funny. They don't make too much fun of being a stupid stoner. It's just they're smoking pot all the time. So study that, how people are portrayed in that, and there's a lot of different examples of it, including 6 Feet Under, Entourage, or the Boardwalk series on HBO is about alcohol prohibition. But if you want to study, we had alcohol prohibition for a number of years back in the 19 teens and 20s. The parallels are incredible. The violence, the gang violence, the undercover speakeasies where people would go to drink, and the corruption in the police. It's very, very similar. So study, the similarities between that. Women's and gender studies. Back during the Reefer Madness campaign, which the government has been putting on for 70 plus years, convincing us that marijuana is the devil's weed and it will turn you insane, they used women to make their point, to drive the point home. If you smoke marijuana, that was it for you. So you could study how they were used that way. But then we could also look at World War II, when, despite hemp being illegal, in World War II, the government for 5 years allowed farmers to grow hemp. And so these are women in Minnesota processing hemp fiber for the World War II war effort. So that was very cool, the way they contributed. And now we have marijuana moms, stiletto stoners, and a lot of female activists out here, which we need. Grandmas for ganja. It's a great person, great people. And that's what we need. We need women out there, because I think people listen to women more. I know I listen to my wife a lot, so we need more women out there. But study how that they're taking the fight to the man, so to speak. They're saying, look, if I want to smoke marijuana after work instead of drinking, I should be able to do that. It's a lot less calories, no hangover. It's better for you, and we can do it. We had the economics of hemp, but you also have the economics of prohibition. How much does this drug war cost us? How much is it really draining the economy? Or how much is it siphoning money into the prison industrial complex, and to all the lawyers, the policemen, the drug testing industry, everything that's used to keep people, and unfortunately people of color, disproportionately in jail or being arrested. So, study the cost of that. Study the cost of medical marijuana and compare it to pharmaceuticals, where they spend billions of dollars researching all these very strong and dangerous pharmaceuticals with 15 side effects, compared to something you can grow in your backyard. A plant where they are distributing in Israel for like $25 to $30 an ounce to patients, and they distribute it at cost. So it's amazing. It doesn't cost a lot to really grow it. And so study the economics of that. How much could we save if more people smoke marijuana for medicine? If you're in the sociology class, study when is society finally going to go, aha, we've had too much of the fucking drug war, and it's just gone on too long, it's too heartless, and we need to change. Is there going to be a watershed event? Is there a tipping point? What? I thought Prop 19, even though it didn't pass, it was huge because it got so much press. Everybody heard a lot about it. So we need you know, we need to know if there's going to be a watershed event or if it's just going to be a lot of baby steps, which is probably the way it is. We're doing baby steps through every state for medical, for different states are passing hemp laws. The hemp industry is taking the DEA to court. The UMass, Lyle Craker, a professor at UMass, wanted to grow medical marijuana because of the farm in Mississippi where the patients get that ditchweed. He wants to grow good, you know, research grade marijuana that people can do real research, but of course the DEA won't let him. So it's totally bad, but we're suing them. We're trying to take the steps one-on-one. The United States government is showing some signs of letting up. They're not arresting they're not shutting down the dispensaries in California and Colorado totally. They're shutting down some of them, but in general, those industries are booming. So we're making progress in that area. And this is a marathon, not a sprint. Just as soon as they legalize marijuana, that prejudice is not going to be over. There's still going to be a lot of prejudice. There's still a terribly large negative stigma associated with cannabis and marijuana use. So we've got a lot of work to do even after we pass these laws to make sure it's fully accepted and integrated into society. So